That recording, right? Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go.
Where did we get to? We've done the vote for 29 lower place, haven't we? Right. So 5/20/22 0525 0535 and 0541 don't meet the criteria. So on to 5/2022 0550 at 54 East Moor Park. Observations on this one, Helen?
Yeah. Seconds.
Sorry, I went too
Yeah,
quickly.
no, that's okay. Apologies. Okay, so 54 Eastmore Park. Ultimately, this application differs little from the previously reviewed scheme, and that is a retrospective application for a heat source pump to the front elevation attached to the side of a forward projection. The same noise impact assessment report has been submitted to that of the previous application, which details an adverse impact during daytime and nighttime with mitigation required. Screening attenuation report has been submitted with this application, which details the required acoustic screening to bring the noise to an acceptable level to the closest affected window of number 52 Eastmore Park. The acoustic panels have already been installed around the air pump, which present as steel galvanised panels, also steel galvanised sheets, and is depicted in the drawings. Despite these measures, this further new addition to the front of the property appears to be out of the proposed property and the street scene. So, yeah, essentially, I had said for us to repeat what was said last time, which was referendum refusal due to the location of the heat source pump to the front of the property and the design of the acoustic panel enclosure, leading to a possible detrimental impact on the street scene and neighbouring property number 52 Eastmore Park, policy 69, 72 and 82 of the district plan, policy ESD 2 of the Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan Affairs.
Thank you. Any other comments? Or any comments from council?
First of all, I mean, I'm satisfied that the acoustic panels are adequate to deal with the noise pollution issue.
Well, essentially, that's why I said referendum refusal.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to say.
Yes, because it's location, so that made sort of a difference about effect on streets.
Yes, so, yeah, I mean,
So I think that wording needs to be expanded a little bit.
yeah.
I don't know what the
Council
council feels.
feels, yeah, that it's should be amended.
Let's hear how the council.
Yes, I mean, I understand why it's being located where it is, which I didn't understand first time, and why it has to be up at the first floor level and on the front of the property. Am I right to say this is not conservation area?
Not, no.
Okay. But I think it has a really adverse effect on the street scene, and I can clearly see why it would have a loss of amenity to the next door neighbour.
To be honest, in hindsight, I'm amazed the planning applications allowed that extension of the front to be built, because I think that looks slightly out of keeping it in, but that's another issue.
Yes, I think we'll deal with the one in front of us for now. Any other comments from councillors on the?
I agree. I'd turn it down. If you let that through, then every house in the street is going to have these big boxes at the front of the houses.
Did you have any suggestions, Rosemary, on how we should change the wording?
Well, I'm just, if somebody needs to put something in on lines, I recommend using the location of the heat source pump in front of the property. And the design, I think we need to design the acoustic panel enclosure. I think we need to put something in along the lines of it. A design of not. I think it is not clear that this is adequate to prevent loss of amenity to the neighbouring property through noise pollution or whatever you want to say through.
Yeah, so I think if we add that sentence in after 52 Eastmore Park, full stop.
Yeah.
And it is not clear that the new acoustic panel enclosure is sufficient.
Is adequate not to. Yes.
I think that works. Are we happy to go with that recommendation? All in favour? Good. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
On to 5/2022/0555 at Clarence House, West Common.
Okay. This application does not differ from that which was withdrawn in 2021 on what appears to be a technicality in the site location plan. This has been amended to now show the highway access to the site. The site is set in the Harpenden Conservation Area and is part of the Metropolitan Green Belt, with Clarence House itself being a locally listed building. The proposal is to erect a 4-bedroom detached dwelling at the far end of the rear garden, bordering Beeston End Lane. Access to the proposed new property will be via the existing entrance of the A1081 and is shared jointly with Clarence House. The proposed new dwelling will be placed centrally and will be a 2-storey square-shaped structure consisting of gable ends on the roof, finished with timber detailing. Distances between the two properties is stated as approximately 43 metres and parking is provided for vehicles. There appear to be bedroom windows on the first floor side elevations, which may impact on the immunity of the neighbouring properties in Berwick. There are a number of trees that are proposed to be removed to allow for the construction of the property, pruning further trees within the vicinity. The proposed site to the rear of the property appears to be overshadowed by trees, which could affect the immunity of future occupiers regarding loss of sunlight to the garden area and to habitable rooms. No imparted details on the 2-to-1 ratio have been included within the proposal. So ultimately, I mean, I can read it all, but the recommendation or the suggestion I've made here mirrors what we had said last time. To show you again here, just to sort of refresh your memory as to where it's the design and the locations, where the properties is being positioned. So just here is actually the road that comes in to Beeston End Lane.
So it is green belt.
It is being built, yeah.
And it doesn't, I don't think, personally demonstrate any special circumstances.
And a further point, it may not be a planning issue, but the access is across the common. Is the access, and was that given initially just for one house on that plot or more than one?
It's not our common land.
It's
It's
not.
privately owned
Is it?
common, yes.
Okay.
So, once you go beyond, I believe it's once you go beyond Redbourne Lane,
Okay.
the common along that side is actually privately owned by the occupiers of the houses opposite.
Any further comments? Can't see any. We have to go with the recommendation. All in favour?
Okay, that's agreed.
Okay. 5/2022/0557/0563, not the criteria required for consideration. So on to 5/2022/0514 at 17 Fitzhill Lane. Observation.
Okay, proposal looks to build over the footprint of the existing side garage and kitchen element at first floor level, but stepped in by 1 metre to reduce the impact on number 15 Fitzhill Lane. Extend rearwards at ground and first floor level to create more downstairs living space, the creation of a further bedroom and dressing areas straight en suites at the first floor. The rearward projection is in line with the neighbouring property. Parking provision for 3 cars has been provided to the frontage through reconfiguration of the garden. Similar schemes have been carried out on the road already, no tree works. You can see just here, again, sort of the existing lower down and then the proposed elevations up above. And then again here, existing and then the proposed. So this shows the proposed block plan where pretty much it mirrors the other semi-detached that it's attached to in terms of block and building lines, footprint.
I mean, a slight concern, 3 parking places in reality is not practical.
No, it's really two, isn't it? In practical terms.
Is 3 spaces sufficient?
3 spaces is sufficient. It's a 4-bedroom property. So essentially what they're looking to do, I can just double check, is that they're looking to remove all of this section of garden space that you can see here.
Yeah, no, that's.
You and I know main road.
Yes,
Is over parking along that lane?
yes. I mean, I would be concerned. Yes, we'd be a little bit concerned because I know other houses along there have that. If you've got 3 cars there, and it's not the car that's, as it were, in the front. Somebody's looking at that configuration, probably somebody's going to have to reverse out onto a very busy road.
Probably reversing out as it is.
Yes. I mean, they're difficult drives to get out of anyway.
But so I'm not convinced that this creates any more problems. The erosion that it has.
Hasn't got already.
Because this drive is the one car at the moment, isn't
Yes, that's true.
it? So
So unless they reverse it and they've already got this,
personally, I'm not.
there's a probably.
Yeah,
Yes, I might think. Yes.
Any other comments from councillors on this one? We have to go to the recommendation.
Okay, that's agreed.
5/2022-0463 and 0417, those criteria. So on to 5/2022-0543 and 40 Top Street Lane.
Okay, moving on. Okay, 40 Top Street. The proposal looks to extend the existing kitchen element to the same width as the dining room at the rear, the creation of accommodation in the loft space by the installation of dormer windows to the side and rear, and Velux windows to the frontage. The dormer window to the side of number 38 Top Street Way is to accommodate the second floor staircase and has obscure glaze. A total of 6 bedrooms in the dwelling, ample off-street parking provision, no tree works, appears to be in keeping with the host property with no detrimental effect on the neighbouring properties. Consider no objection subject to levels of amenity to neighbouring properties, policy 72 of the district plan first. Just again, so here's the original listing. And then you can see here the side dormer. At the back, you can see another additional dormer and the rear extension. So actually this shows here the little red areas depicts the additions to property.
Any comments from councillors? Any, we have to go to the recommendation, all in favour? Okay, on to 5/2022-0497, 22 Roundfield Avenue.
Okay, so it is planned to demolish the existing side conservatory to generate more development space and to utilise the spacious garden area to build the new dwelling. This proposal differs from the refused proposal in that the applicant now looks to convert the existing 2-bedroom into a 1-bedroom property, and the new dwelling has also reduced from 2 bedrooms to just 1. This amendment reduces the parking provision requirement to be just 1 space per property, with 1 space unallocated on the highway. This is believed to address the reasons for refusal by the LPA. The overall new property size and style matches that of the refused scheme and sits mostly on the footprint of the existing conservatory. There is a good distance between the new dwelling and the neighbouring property at number 24 Roundfield Avenue. There is ample meeting space. So you can see here it's essentially the proposed plot and the existing plot where the conservatory sits. We've got the proposed elevations to the left and the existing elevations to the right. So essentially they come both look very similar. Footprint exactly the same. Well, it's the what's looked at before. But just moving from being 2 bedrooms to 1 bedroom.
Any comments from councillors on?
the economics of a 2-bed to 2 1-beds. Questionable.
We're not selling.
Yeah, I do wonder if they know what we're doing.
Councillor Lyver.
Is 22 Roundfield Avenue a detached property at the moment?
Yes.
So it's going to make it into a terrace.
Yeah.
You can see there, you can see the,
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how Roundfield is made up actually. I'm not sure if there is selection of terrace further
Most
along.
semi-detached.
Yes, most of semi-detached to brownfield.
Some more detached.
Okay.
I don't think there are any terraced houses, no.
I mean, the district only refused it last time purely on parking.
Not really.
I think there might be on the, maybe on the other side of the road.
Towards, is it towards the bottom?
So you said,
Because don't
worry.
Our friend used to live further down,
Yeah.
and I think
I can't
that was
remember.
their house,
Yes,
and that was I think that's sort of further down.
it's down quite, it's quite a long way down.
But I mean, yeah, I shouldn't think it, obviously, the street scene, I think it's quite mixed.
And I think,
Yes.
I mean, it creates two one
It creates two one-bedroom.
One, I think the design's been done relatively well, so I don't think it actually looks particularly like it's gonna be.
No.
No,
I personally don't have any issues with it.
it's exactly the same footprint essentially as to what we've got already there. It's,
And there is a considerable lack of small one or two bedroom dwellings in the town.
It's the first time, just as that site, it's the first time I've ever seen one turned down purely for parking previously, so I think given they've sorted out the parking situation.
Interestingly, actually, just to answer your question, Councillor, Blythe, is that I can see here actually on number, looks like 28, 26 and 24 look like they are terraced actually, and on the opposite side of the road up here, I think these are also terraced.
Yeah.
I think Roundfield's made up of a sort of a selection of properties. So I think if you look here,
I think it's quite
at this one, where the ones that put it to the left is very different in style
Yes.
to these other ones here to the right.
I think it's quite a varied road, isn't it?
It's very steep down.
Yes.
It's fine.
Any other comments from council? We have to go to the recommendation, all in favour?
That's great.
Okay, 5/2022/0508 and 0593 don't meet criteria required for consideration. So on to, Harry, is this the one where you've got a non-beginner? And so on to 5/2022/0595, 1 Granby observation.
Okay, so we have actually received representation from the neighbour, although it's Lyndhurst Drive, they are the neighbour of number 1 Granby Avenue, who is expressing their concerns, which if I just go forward to the drawings here. So I believe they live in this property here to the left-hand side. So I'll read out my observations first of all. The proposal looks to build over the footprint of the garage and the utility room at first floor level to create a third bedroom, which will total 5, and additional bathroom facilities, and extend rearwards at ground floor level to extend the family room. A 1 metre gap to the boundary of number 3 Granby Avenue is being retained. The road slopes down with number 3 Granby Avenue positioned lower down. A raised terrace with glass screening is being added to the rear. The garage is lost, but 3 spaces allocated to the frontage. Hopefully works and not conservation area. So I initially sent an objection subject to notice of community to neighbouring properties. Well, we've now received representation from the neighbour of 23 who is concerned about the loss of privacy and the general amenity from the rear extension and the south-east elevation bifold doors, which potentially could cause their kitchen and their family room a detrimental impact. Low ground floor level, the height of the patio is raised significantly, giving their kitchen extension, and the outdoor patio clears sight into our garden. So you can see here that clearly they're concerned by this raised patio element there. There will also be a loss of privacy and amenity to the residents of number 3 Granby Avenue. They're elderly and housebound, so this proposal has caused a lot of stress and anxiety. We also note the applicant has already installed a reef light to the rear visible from the attached photo. Okay, this is not included in either existing or proposed plans submitted. Well, like a roof light doesn't require planning permission, but it should potentially have been included on these drawings. Yeah, so if I just run through again, so you can see here that potentially that the raised patio that's highlighted at the back there would look into the gardens of number 23.
And number 3.
And number three, yeah.
So presumably, can we just go back to that
Yeah.
plan? Number 3 is to the right.
Number
Yeah,
three,
yeah, number
yeah,
23.
number
yeah.
three is here, and this is 23 Lyndhurst.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
right, yeah.
When I think drawings, what is there now? I can't quite work out where this is.
The,
The existing.
What do you
that's
mean?
existing.
So, well, the northwest elevation, that's the
Yeah.
rear, that's bifold doors that the people are worried
Yeah.
about. What's there at the moment? I mean,
I
is
think
it
the
down
bottom
here.
is-
The bottom shows it.
So the house ends, as far as I can tell, at the end of
So
the
it
house.
sort of
And
ends
then this
here.
new hut, not hut, sorry, the new extension thing that slopes down.
but so those, it just, currently, the northwest elevation, those windows that are there at the moment, are they at the same height that they're going to become after the,
Which at ground floor level,
yeah,
They're not there at the moment.
No, there are some. on the
Yeah,
bottom.
so- yes, well, you can use a little laser pen.
So essentially, so you've got these windows here are the existing, and those are what are still there here. But this is the extension that's coming out at the back, which is this section here. So I think these windows here are pretty much in line almost with this here. But I think what their concern is that we've got this raised patio element that protrudes out, which at the moment, so I mean, that's, you know, that's where the house stops there, and it's this extra section here that's being added onto the back. And I think the gradient in the road, by the sounds of it, will cause a detrimental impact because it drops away.
I also think I read this correctly. Yeah. I think the. No, point.
These bifolds were one of the things they mentioned, because that presumably looks
Oh, yes.
into.
Yeah.
It's looking, yes.
Yeah.
That's looking into, Granby, I think, into,
I think it's
Yeah.
23.
so actually, you can see here, that's where Councillor Carroll has just shown, where there's the bifold doors
Yes.
here.
Yeah,
You can just see at the top there where my
Yes.
arrow is moving. So
and
there's,
that's entirely new because it's deeper
Yes.
into the
Yeah.
property.
And that will shed a lot of light on the right swing into, yes.
I think that they're sort of generally concerned, I mean, on the basis as well that this is a raised patio sort of
Yeah.
element at the back here, which we don't currently have.
Yes.
So, yeah, without this gentleman's information,
Yes.
you know, to know that the road slopes like that, and he did show some photographs of the road they pointed out. Yeah, obviously there is detrimental, potential detrimental impact to them.
And I think those doors, I mean, when I looked at this, I was quite concerned about it doesn't look straight across into their garden.
Yes, because.
If you're sat in the kitchen of the
Yes. You have
Granby
the-
Avenue, you'd be looking
Yes,
into next door.
yes, because normally you'd expect bifold doors to be, when a house would be
At the
opening
back.
up at the back,
Right, yeah.
onto your own garden, as it
Not
were.
on the side.
Yes, and I suppose on this side, issue of noise as well, because if they got those doors open,
Yes,
if you do
exactly.
bifolds, the noise isn't going to project down the
Yes.
garden. It's
Yeah.
gonna project out to the side.
Yes.
and not only that, you see also if you're standing on that raised area there, you're going to
Yes.
look into the other,
Yeah.
like over the fence.
This thing would be just-
I could agree with you against this one, I must admit.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Yes, because I think there is a significant potential possibility.
It's also a question of both. Because it's looking down,
Yes.
it will look quite massive, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it will actually, yes,
It will be over dominant.
on that corner, on that corner.
so we have
So
got,
wording,
yes, always fun. So we're concerned about the effect of on the immunity of both neighbours from overlooking light pollution, noise pollution. Did I miss anything on the amenity
The
side?
bulk, the apparent bulk at the back because of where the land falls away.
So we're also concerned about the bulk and with particular reference to, as Nigel says, the slope.
Yes, yeah, the camber, we can say the camber of the.
Like, what should I say? It's like-
The camber of the site.
Yeah, which will give an overbearing appearance on the street scene, because it is branded around there as quite a specific street. It's a street scene and it's open street scene and it can be out of proportion.
Is there anything else that we'd like to? Sorry.
No, all I was going to say was when we saw the drawings looking down, the house further along goes back much further. It's quite a deep house.
Yes.
But I think it's not the depth of it, it's just the nature of
It's the lie of the land, isn't it? Yeah.
And the amenity effects from the fact that it's an terrace and it's bifold.
Yeah.
If it was just an extension, I think I might be slightly more sympathetic to it. But
How would you like to start this? Recommend refusal or an express concern?
I will put that to the committee to decide. I would start with express concern and put a vote on that and then see which way the land lies after that. So who would be minded towards express concern on this basis? Fairly clear. Recommend refusal?
Okay.
I always start with the lesser one if I'm not sure which way the committee is inclined. Quite apparent. Yeah. 522 0543 0574 0576, all that meet criteria. So on to 5/2022 0577 at 37 Ridgewood Drive. Stoke.
So here is the existing 37 Ridgewood. The proposal is to demolish the existing property and replace the 5-bedroom dwelling in modern materials. The proposed new dwelling mostly sits over the ground floor footprint of the existing property. With the front projections extending further forward than the existing, but to be in line with the building line of the neighbouring properties. The first floor footprint is increasing to cover more of the ground floor footprint, but still retaining a good gap to the boundary lines. Accommodation is also proposed in the loft. The main feature of the property is the large full height glazing panels to the rear at first floor and second floor levels. But there appears to be at least 25 metres to the nearest neighbouring rear window in properties in the road behind, which is Woodlands. Roof ridge height is increasing by 400 millimetres. Meters, in fact, here it should be millimetres. Apologies, it was me. Which is the same or less height than the neighbouring properties and is proposed to take a crown design with solar panels on the flat roof element. A garage and 2 off-street parking spaces are proposed, no tree work and not conservation area. So if I just start again, so this is the existing, and then these are the artist impressions to what the property is proposed to look like.
So I presume that's a double, that bit at the back is a double story.
No, it's
That's the double story there?
no. So this bit here is the ground, and this is a single. But it's
Yeah,
just connecting.
it's a raised roof.
Yes, no, they're not. I don't think they're going into the roof space.
No, but it's a double height roof.
Yes, yes, yeah. So here you can see. Actually, no, they are building the loft space. I think. From memory now.
You would before
Yeah.
I need to read.
You would, yeah.
Yes, there is going to be a roof.
So apologies.
Combination in the roof as well.
You can here see the existing street scenes. The neighbouring property to the left is quite substantially larger than the existing, and the one to the right is larger, but maybe not quite so large. Then lower down, you can see the proposed street scene with the view. This shows the massing view, the existing and the proposed.
I remember seeing this.
And then this again shows the plot plan. And that's it.
Is anyone concerned about the light from that double height? The potential effect on wildlife and things like this?
It's very popular at the moment, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
And I've raised similar concerns earlier, so I thought I could ask the question.
I think because it's not a conservation area, I think it's probably all right. Because like I say, it's quite common.
Yeah.
It would be hard to say no to
Yes.
this.
I think it would be quite. So,
I thought it was on the edge, so I just thought I'd ask the question.
There's no letters of objection. no.
Well, there is one letter of objection, which actually is from number 39. But it was, when I did look at it, it kind of wasn't really particularly relevant. They were not overly keen on just the idea that building work was going to take place on the road, so it didn't really.
Could you go back to the site plan of the development plan? And one question about that. That's. Do we know about a picture of what that looks like? Is that double height? Or
I think
single?
it's pulled in.
So if you look like the sort of the darker hatched or the darker sort of kind of grayscale area is the existing property.
Oh, that's existing, is it?
That's the existing.
Oh, okay,
The
right,
height
okay, right.
is the
Okay,
extension,
okay,
yeah,
so-
so
okay, so what's
it's
there-
already there.
Okay.
So I'd agree, I think if they're extending that,
Yeah.
quite further out, it's already there.
I'm assuming. It's a fact, I'm assuming 45-degree rule doesn't apply in that case if the property is already massed to that level.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Well, I would comment is they don't really like what the price of electricity is going to be in heating all that space.
Once again, not a public concern.
It's very panels on the roof, that's right.
You know, which space gives you that hint of good business at the moment.
Yeah.
The number of these we've seen. Okay, are we happy to go with the recommendation? All in favour?
Was that yes, sorry, I missed that.
No, don't worry, I went too quickly.
Okay.
That was 13.7 Ridgewood, wasn't it? So we're on to 5/2021/0608, doesn't meet the criteria. And then 5/2022/0632 at 20A St James Road. Observation.
That is right. Right, so we've got the existing property here on the screen. The proposal essentially looks to include a zinc flat roof dormer almost across the full width of the roof to the rear of the property to create an additional bedroom and living space in the roof. Proposed total 4 bedrooms on the site. But there are changes to windows and doors throughout the property, with some being enlarged or changed with doors, with the addition of a few new windows to support the internal changes that are also proposed ground and first floor levels. Only one off-street parking space is provided, which does not differ from the current arrangement. Secure cycle store is proposed for frontage, no tree works and not conservation area. I'd say consider recommend refusal. Whilst the committee have no objection to the proposed material change to the property, they do express strong concern over the inadequate parking provision provided on the site for 4-bedroom property. Policy 40 and 72 of the district plan affairs. I don't know sort of, if you have any other sort of kind of viewpoints about extensions at all. So yeah, so if I can just show you again. So this is this has been extended already, this property. But what they're looking to do is to include this dormer window to the rear, which is clad in zinc. And also this extension, I believe here, oh no, that is already there. Actually, that is part of the original extension. That so it is literally just this dormer window here. Yeah. Right.
a very big door.
I think it's because it stretches right across the width and it is from the ridge height of the roof.
Any comments from councillors?
Well, I thought the dorm was a bit dominant. I know it's at the back, but,
Can I ask about the parking? So it's only got one off-street parking at the minute, and you'd had for 4 bedroom, you'd want
Right.
3. Because, yeah, if it had 2, I'd probably
Yes.
go for it for concern. But because it's social by 2 spaces, it confuses.
Yeah. This is not an easy road at the best of times with parking.
They're short even from the start
Yeah.
Yes.
as well.
And it's a very,
And there are,
Yeah.
you know, can I just check, going back to look at the size of that dormer,
Yes.
which is across the full width of the roof, the rear, is it possible to?
No,
No.
it won't. If I just show you here, although I'll say it's kind of almost across the width, there is an element of nipping in just here.
Mm.
So you can just see, so I think it could be sort of along the lines of maybe sort of half a metre. Nipping in. So no, it won't be.
Supporting the street.
No.
And I think I just refer to the wording of the proposed wording. But it's a recommend refusal, and then later on say they do express strong concern. I think it's a bit of a mixed message. And maybe we should just say an objection to the property. There is inadequate parking provision or statement to that effect.
I'm also not convinced we have an objection to material changes to the
No.
parking, frankly. At very least, I would drop that wording,
Yes,
just say recommend refusal on the parking.
on the parking, yes.
And I've expressed concern at the size of the dormer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Overly dominant.
Yes.
Okay, so.
For an amenity effect as well. It's just a big windows.
Yeah,
Just a very
not
big
really,
window.
because it's not, I mean, you'd say amenity if it was kind of felt that it was going to have a detrimental impact on light from the neighbouring property or overlooking. But I don't think that's the case.
I answered any questions I asked. Any other comments we'd like included? With those changes, we happy to go with that? That's right, with that recommendation, all in favour?
I'll close that window. Yes, that's fine. It's getting late, oh, it's getting chilly now.
I have. I'm forgetting to bring my bottle on that. In very small glasses. 5/2022/0639 criteria. On to 5/2022/0485 at 3 Willoughby Road.
Okay. So 3 Willoughby Road. A bit of a distorted picture, but it's an extremely new property. This property is part of a relatively new build pair of semi-detached properties in the rear garden of number 52 Lee Road. Small extension detailed in the histories has been built to the rear to create additional living space. The proposed side extension is to create a garage and wardrobe space to the only bedroom in the property. Neighbouring property to the development side is a good distance away. Consider no objection. So this is said property with its little extension to the side. It's quite a modest property. So upstairs we've got essentially 1 bedroom and a bathroom and a study. And then they're looking to add this additional wardrobe space on the first floor level and a garage downstairs. That's it.
Thank you. Look, I was going to ask, this is probably a dark question, but are we satisfied that that garage is big enough to fit a modern car in? It looks tight even with the car that they've drawn on the plan.
Let me just look at the.
Let's put on the scale.
And you wouldn't want any more off-street parking on that
It's a woman,
It's ready to the right floor.
road.
Like, the study is good.
It's quite tiny. It wouldn't be big enough to fit a bed in it.
It's a bedroom occasion. On my fourth bedroom, you can't fit a bed in it.
No, okay. But it's stated as a study. So the garage is 3.1 metres.
I don't know, it's relative to car sizes.
So that's width is 3 metres, 3.1 metres, and it is 5.1 metres long. I don't know in sort of kind of relative.
It-
No, there's no car. This is the garage.
Oh, garage.
Yeah. So no, it's the garage.
Please still understand my comment.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I was concerned about with the garage, it's to become habitable space at some point. But I think if you think you get a car in there, that's fine. I was just, the car they've got on the drawing, I thought it might take its wing mirrors off when it tried to get in through the door.
If it's a one bedroom property, then I'm prepared to give the benefit of the doubt, it's not a specified SUV.
And it's, let's look at it, I suppose the wardrobe space is separate from the garage,
It's above it.
it's above it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's on a different floor, isn't it? Yes, yes, it's above it.
You were confused like me, yeah.
Yes, I'm confused. I was confused looking at the little bits of yellow and, yes.
Yeah.
I think the yellow is sort of kind of supposedly clothing. Yes, I'm not quite sure.
Is it currently used as a driveway, that space? Yeah.
So it would be
Yeah.
enough really.
They're just moving their car into wall space.
Yeah.
I think what they might be doing actually is creating a foundation for a first floor extension.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're actually really doing.
Yes.
Which is fine, so long as it's big enough to fit a car in, I've got no issue. I was, as I say, not being an expert in these things, I was mildly concerned.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of older properties in the town now, the garages.
Yeah.
Not big enough to fit a.
Are we happy to go with the recommendation? No objection, all in favour? Okay, 5/2022/0446 and 0586, don't meet the criteria required for consideration. So on to 5/2022/0531 4 Green Lane Close.
Right, 4 Green Lane Close. The property sits on a spacious plot down the private road of Wheathampstead Road with a great deal of natural screening around the site. The proposal looks to demolish the existing detached double garage and build over the footprint with a forward projection at ground floor and first floor level to create a single garage and a games room at ground floor level and an additional bedroom, totaling 6 in the property on a study at first floor level, with 3 parking spaces on the frontage and a single garage, no tree works, not conservation area. Consider no objection. So this is the site here that you can see. This is the property, main property, and then this is the detached garage that they're looking to demolish. There we go. So it just shows you again there. So they are looking to demolish the existing garage, which is here, and replace it with a 2-storey forward projection. That's the existing footprint, and then this is the proposed. Red, I just couldn't around it, unfortunately, wasn't relevant to this. And so you can see here that you've got the garage along with the games room, which is joined onto the main house. Again, first floor, the floor plans and the elevations for said property, and then again, floor plans and elevations, but this shows the extension of the elevations for the floor plan for upstairs. That's it.
There been any objections from anyone else? Any comments from councillors?
It's such a, they're so spacious. The
Yeah,
plot from
there's
there,
such big
it's
blocks
stand-
along
yeah,
there.
It's done very alone, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's not coming in purple. All in favour of the recommendation? Clarify what we're voting. 5/2022/0562 doesn't. Criteria required for consideration. On to 5/2022/0652 at 16 Ramley Walk. I have pushed the pronunciation of that.
No, I think that's correct. The proposal looks to extend rearwards at ground floor level in line with existing garage stroke utility projection, to expand existing living accommodation and to build above the footprint of the garage stroke utility to create an additional bedroom. Big lovely good. Additional bedroom and an ensuite. Houses in the street are set in a staggered positioning, therefore reducing any possible impact from the first floor extension due to being set forward of the neighbouring property. Other properties in the street appear to have done similar. The single garage is proposed to be changed to be a store. It appears that there is only a space for 2 off-street parking spaces on the frontage, as there are no details of proposed changes to the frontage to create further parking due to the loss of garage. No tree works and not conservation area. Consider no objection subject to the sufficient parking provision being provided. So you can see here they've got the existing and the proposed elevations. Existing is just at the top here, actually to the left, and then the proposed is over here to the right. This is the floor plans, which again sort of show this extension across the back here and then side. Going here.
We're very excited about that.
Sounds like it, doesn't it? And then again here you can see the red depicts the side extension and the ground floor extension. That's it.
Any comments from councillors? Can't see any. Are we happy with the recommendation?
Agreed.
5/2022/0408 at 34 Tennyson Road. Observations?
Okay, so. Right, the proposal looks to remove the 2 bay windows to the rear at ground floor level and replace with flat bifold doors to create a more open plan living space, extend the bedroom floors at first floor level and to create accommodation in the roof space by raising of the ridge height. Proposals appear to be in keeping with this local building in the conservation area. Properties in the road have done similar. Neighbouring property footprints extends further back than this property. Loss of garage as space to park vehicles due to creation of playroom within the garage space. New loft room not detailed as the bedroom, although a new bathroom is proposed. There appears to be 1 off-street parking space retained. And then I've got here additional information. This property has experienced significant fire damage and these proposals are to be carried out as part of a wider refurbishment project. No objection, or say, as you consider no objection subject to the appropriate defining use of materials on this locally listed building in the conservation area, and sufficient off-street parking provision being provided. So you can see here that we've got the existing over here on the left-hand side, with the proposed over here on the right. So there's really fundamentally very little change to the frontage, apart from the addition of these 2 deluxe or skylight windows here. Then we've got the extension that's here at the back that you can see that projects out. So this is the existing floor plan, and then this is the proposed floor plan. So you can see that in a sense what we're doing is we're going straight across the back here at ground floor level, and then at the first floor level we're extending further along the side just here, and then building in the roof. So we just kind of, in a sense, this section here is flattening out. Then we're extending here to enlarge bedroom 4, and then there's a loft just there. This is the proposed footprint. So as you can see here is sort of relatively in keeping with the footprint or the rear projection of the neighbouring properties. That's it.
Any comments from councillors?
I like the windows. Yes, I think they give some personality to a house. Yes.
They'll tell you the front bay window.
Yeah. Which I think probably is.
If that's of any help.
Yes.
So in terms of the character of the streets being,
It is the front, but yes,
Yeah.
it would be very out of character for the street and the building.
Any other commentary? Are we happy to go with the recommendation? All in favour?
Okay, that's agreed.
Okay, 5/2022/0628, which I'm right, as it is the same as 0655, isn't it?
Correct, yes, just the one is the locally listed,
We'll take both together. It's safe doing it twice.
okay, I haven't actually done any drawings for this one because it hasn't really changed. So I didn't really see that there's need for me to go into time and effort to do that. So the observations are fundamentally this application does not differ from the previously refused application 5/21/2281. The focus is on detailing how the link will join to the main structure, creating a watertight seal, along with a few minor changes being made in relation to the positioning of doors. But ultimately, the proposal's intentions remain the same as the two previously refused schemes, which this committee has strong reservations about. I have essentially repeated the wording pretty much how we've said it before, which is recommend refusal. The committee acknowledges that further amendments have been made to the proposal to try to address the reasons for refusal raised by the LPA in the two previous applications. However, the committee remains concerned that the reasons raised previously by this committee have still not been addressed and may therefore impact on the Hartland Conservation Area and on the amenity of neighbouring properties and utilising the relevant policies.
As I said, it's well, because this would be an impact on it. Doesn't say as well, it still doesn't refer to it being a listed building, remains.
Yes, I think.
I think personally, I'd like to see some wording put in as well about it's what they're suggesting still is not compatible with the status of the listed building.
What I was going to suggest, this may be helpful, it may not, it may be helpful, is where we say the committee concerns previously raised is to repeat those concerns,
Okay,
assuming that none of them have been addressed, so I don't think that's raising.
If you look at the reason for the St Albans turning it down, it was turned down not for any sort of design, well, not for any building reason, but more they were concerned about the connection, how it was at the glass.
Well, they also talked about by reason of its design would have an unacceptable visual impact.
Are you sure? Where does it say that?
SADC refused the proposed place link by reason of its design would have an unacceptable visual impact which would detract from the appreciation of significance of the listed building. Moreover, it has not been demonstrated. History.
Oh, yeah, so it does, yeah.
The most recent history.
Yeah, so most recent one is 2281.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
so I don't think, so looking here, we didn't actually give any sort of kind of reasons within that particular refusal. However, there's a little bit more detail in the previous refusal from 1222 that I could probably take some words from.
Yeah, we can.
I can.
It's the same reasons.
Yeah. If they still haven't crossed the metal, they glass, will have that glass link.
It's saying the proposed building, yeah, it's saying the proposed glazed link would therefore cause harm to the special historic and architectural interests of the listed building, blah, blah, blah. It's not saying it would cause harm because it's a link. It's saying it's going to cause harm because they don't know how the link's going to be attached.
Okay, so that was the first time. Last time it was which would detract from the appreciation and significance of the listed building. Which I think is fairly.
There's two of them, isn't there?
Yeah, so I think actually that Matt's referencing from page 23,
Yeah.
there's so much history to this that.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be basically they're saying that it would have a detrimental effect on the appearance of the listed building.
I think it's essentially saying it's too modern
It's just
to add it to this
listed
very,
building.
Which I think is much the same as what we've been saying.
so just, then just to continue here, Councillor Lyons was presenting a declaration of interest. for this application, so just for them recording into the minutes.
Sorry, I forgot.
Okay, that's okay, it just came to me now.
So many on the agenda, so keep losing track of where we are with everything.
It's okay with the members.
Right. So, yeah, if we can repeat the wording we used before, in relation to the glass link. Yeah, I just think it would be helpful, given how many of these there have been. We're currently referring back to something, that there is referring back to something.
We're sort of making more sort of kind of a reference back to the application of 1222, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Exactly. Okay. Any other comments from councillors on this one? We have to go into recommendation with those changes. All in favour? Thank you very much. 5/2022/0643, 18 Churchfield. Your recommendation. Your observations. Yeah.
So there's virtually no change to the ground floor plan, just a subtle window and door amendments with no increase in the footprint. Those changes are predominantly over the garage and kitchen to the side of number 20 Churchfield at first and roof floor level. These extensions are stepped in by 1 metre from the boundary to reduce impact on the neighbouring property. Show you here. Extensions create an additional bedroom, which will total 4, and a bathroom at first floor level and a loft room in the roof space. Garage is contained, 2 off-street parking spaces are provided, no freeways and not conservation area. So consider no objection subject to no loss of immunity to number 20 Churchfield, policy 7 to do with district plan affairs. So here you can see to the left we've got the existing, which essentially is this one here. And then to the right you can see what they're proposing to do, which is to extend over the garage footprint at first floor level, but stepped in by at least a metre. And then to the rear you can see again the rear extension with the dormer window, which is in the loft space. Here you've got the side elevations of the existing on the left and then the proposed on the right. The block plan shows the extensions, and then these the existing and the proposed floor plans at ground floor. So very, very little, if anything, changed at all, to be honest. I think the only change is just really new at the front. It's the porch area. But then the changes do happen at the first floor and the loft space. So you can see here the extensions along this sort of grey scale section along the left-hand side with a little small loft room on this left-hand side. And to the right, we've got the existing floor plan.
Any comments from councillors on this one? See any happy other recommendation?
Okay, so don't
Taking the next one, and the last one, hopefully. 5/2022/0703 does not meet the criteria, so on to 5/2022/0709, 11 Tylers. Observation.
So here we go, 11 Tylers. The property is the right-hand part of a semi-detached. Is the part of the semi-detached right-hand part of the semi-detached property, the public passageway down the side. The proposal is to extend by 3 metres rearwards at ground floor level across the width of the property to extend the living space. Fill in the front 2.2 metre gap at ground floor level to create a study, and 2 3-metre first floor level extensions to the front and the back to the side of the passageway. Then removing any impact on the neighbouring properties. 1 additional bedroom has been added throughout the scheme, which will total 4. The garage is lost, although additional parking provision is being made on the frontage for up to 4 cars by the removal of all landscaping. There appears to be quite a lot of development for the size of the plot and this location in the street scene. I say consider expressed concern. The proposed extensions are an overdevelopment of the plot, leading to a cramped appearance in the street scene. Concerns are also expressed over the loss of landscaping to the frontage to the relevant policies. So you can see here the existing floor plan, and then to the right, the proposed floor plan, which extends quite a strong distance rearwards and also forwards. Then again at where the existing on the left and the proposed on the right, which is quite substantial, extending along here all the way along that. That's the side elevation of the existing and the proposed, which is viewed from the passageway. The proposed elevations to the front and the back. And that's it.
I'm not sure which councillor is first. I'll go with
Ladies,
Palmer and then.
Well, I'm going to say, first of all, I think it's an overdevelopment. It's a very, very small road. It's going to be completely out of proportion. You will also be more than concerned about the total loss of landscaping, because the whole of the Aldwoodbury development was designed specifically to keep an open frontage. In fact, I don't know about that, but certainly would have known it. A lot of it, I think it's covenanted about keeping it that open. Which, although it's covenanted, is not a planning thing. I don't know if that is, but it is specific. The whole of that, the whole of the Aldwoodbury development was planned to give an open appearance to the front, and this is fundamentally putting the street around. It's completely out of keeping with that designed street scene.
absolutely. I mean, that's it. It's usually to be complete open development, as Councillor Palmer has said. I'm very concerned in particular about the landscaping, which seems to certainly involve some removal of some trees. To me, whether they're shrubs or trees, but there's no plan to replace that, which is clearly an omission, because there is nowhere to replace it. But no, knowing that road, I would say that this is just out of all scale and all keeping with the.
I'd quickly say, to echo Councillor Farmer's point, it's everywhere from, I know quite well, close, it's everywhere from, but the Crabtree Lane, all the way around to the Aldwoodbury area, past the school and the other school, Crabtree.
Yes.
Yes, I read it.
I retired now. I used to be
Yeah.
a customer of my mind.
They're all of a very similar design.
Yes.
So I think it's, I mean, I would go, I'd be more comfortable with refusal.
Yes.
I agree. Is that what I wrote?
I noticed there was a comment from someone, I think it was 29 Holly Walk, which is the other, I think it's the other side of the passageway.
Yes, it's.
Yeah, about, so the current first floor window is frosted, and they were saying that the proposal is it's not frosted. The new proposal is to change it from frosted to not frosted or something.
I think they were asking to ensure that it was frosted.
So they wanted to
be frosted, but looking at the thing, it is actually either the bathroom or, so I assume there would be frosted in fact. But
Yeah, there is a bathroom and an ensuite.
yeah, so I assume they would be frosted.
Okay.
Although-
I assume.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I think some of because when they were built those houses were all originally built within roughly
Yeah.
period in the 70s. I don't think all of it was required. I don't think all did have. I'm not sure there's a from stick windows. Yes.
I'm aware of properties that just have curtains. Well,
Yes.
But yeah, the overdevelopment is the main.
But it is, and the loss of landscape, which I think really matters to them, because it's fundamental against the whole layout of that area.
It's also a flooding issue as well.
Yes.
We're having no sort of method of running over,
Runoff, yes.
Out of interest, this is almost a secondary one. Got me convinced they can fit 4 cars on that.
Well, they have shown that they can. So I'm thinking that they've shown somewhere. It was somewhere anyway.
They're not
But
exactly.
they are back. They are literally 2 and 2.
They're not. It's not. They're not exactly large frontages on tiles.
Well, that's sort of why I was asking.
They're very narrow properties.
Yes.
Yes, if you see here though, so you've got the yellow car, that is on the drive. So you've got one car there, another space behind, and then they're losing all of this to the right hand side to create additional parking. So you can fit a car there and
In
the car
theory.
behind, yeah. And so in theory, yes, but that is
Is-
all landscaping.
In fact, the street scene never changed the car park.
So yeah, if you can see here, there is nothing apart from the side passageway and the public footpath depicted other than parking.
Yeah, I think it was a side point. I just thought I'd ask the question.
No, it's a valid question.
We're taking all the metro ways to that park. Anyway,
Do you want to move to recommend refusal?
I suspect we do. All in favour of refusal? Very conclusive.
Very strong
And we
refusal.
want to strengthen the wording to the overdevelopment as well, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which actually we have.
Yeah, we have, we have.
And yes, and I think, I think perhaps put some wording in, not only said the cramped appearance of the street scene within an area where the street scenes were specifically designed to give an open aspect.
I think is that not more related to the landscaping, or is that related to
Well, it probably goes in with both, but some get somewhere along the lines, get something in about.
If you catch all
What's up? Yeah.
that. 5/2022/0726, that's meet criteria. So 1, 2, 5/2022/0738, 20 Harrisbrook Road.
Okay, so here we go, 20 Harrisbrook. The proposal is to replace and move over the footprint of the garage stroke utility to the side of ground and first floor level, extend the ground floor living space, extend the size of the principal bedroom and introduce an ensuite. No additional bedrooms are being added. A 1 metre gap to the boundary with 18 Harrisbrook Road is being retained, with the garage creating further distance between windows and proposed extensions. There's the loss of the garage, but ample parking remains on the frontage, no tree work and not conservation area, consider no objection. Okay, so you can see here that we've got the proposed on the left-hand side and the existing on the right, which essentially shows the 2-storey extension over the footprint of the garage to the right-hand side. And then here the floor plans just explain that further. So we've got the extension along the left-hand or the right-hand side of the bottom, running along and extending outwards at the back to the ground floor level, which is here. I think that's basically it.
Any comments from councillors?
I think what does help is that we've got quite a large distance here to the neighbourhood, which does help.
There aren't any comments, I'd be happy to go with the recommendation. All in favour? Lovely stuff. On to 5/2022/0539 at 31 Swansea Avenue.
The property is substantial in size and is positioned on a sizable plot at the end of the road with lots of natural screening. The proposal is relatively modest in relation to the property size and does not add to the footprint. The proposed orangery is a good addition to the property and is to be built in sympathetic materials to the house style. Few roof lights are proposed throughout the property and in the detached garage, all of which are of a size and positioning to be in keeping. Lots of garage to become a gym and a games room, but ample parking provision on the driveway and the frontage. The property is locally listed in the conservation area and no tree works are proposed. I say consider no objections subject to the appropriate design and use of materials in this locally listed building in the conservation area. As you can see here that the existing property is over here on the left, and essentially what they're looking to do is to remove this rather old-fashioned courtyard arrangement and put in a wooden structure orangery on its, in its stead, and then to change the detached single garage here, or actually double garage here, from being a garage into being a games room stroke gym. It's just here, and then I think they're doing some like storage boxes just here at the back as well. Basically, that's it.
Thank you. Heather, any comments on this one? Any mind go the recommendation from the favour?
Lovely, lovely character and style.
It's just really attractive houses of all.
Okay, on to 5/2022/068, which doesn't meet the criterion. So on to 5/2022/0725, number 12, Westfield. Observations on this one?
Okay, the property is the left-hand side of a pair of semi-detached dwellings on the end of the line of houses, siding onto the rear gardens of Westfield Avenue. The proposals are to widen and bring the garage in line with the front elevation of the main house to create a shower room, to extend across the back of the house as a continuation of the garage / breakfast room, to bring the existing gap to expand the ground floor living space, and to build over the newly positioned garage to relocate an existing bedroom and a bathroom. Existing bedrooms enlarged only, ample parking conditions on the edge but not in the conservation area. So you can see here that we've got the existing where the garage is actually set further back on the and they're looking to bring that in line with the front building line here, and then they're looking to essentially replace the footprint at the back where the garage was and the downstairs bathroom, actually funny enough, at the back here with, actually no, it wasn't a downstairs bathroom, in fact it was a utility, so they're looking to build that footprint there at ground floor, and then upstairs looking to relocate the bathroom and expand one of the bedrooms in the newly positioned garage. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, so here's the elevations, the existing, and then there's the proposed. So there's not a vast difference kind of in this area here, which is kind of probably the main area of concern. Doesn't really differ vastly.
Thank you. Heather, any comments from councillors on this one? I'm happy to go with the recommendation. All in favour?
Okay, that's agreed.
Okay, on to 5/2022/0729 at the junction of Luton Road and Thrales End Lane, which must be the closest we get to the border of Buckland without actually going across it.
No, a bit further up.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit further up. The boundary is pretty much with the common, actually, the road which is called the common. That's the boundary. There you go. Okay, so corner of Thrales End Lane, straight Luton Road. The proposed new monopole is to support the delivery of 5G technology to the area. Included with the application are various reports relating to the potential adverse health effects from wireless network radiation and a proven science that supports the understanding that with the introduction of 5G, there will be no detrimental effect on public health. The site already supports similar infrastructure and is set back from the main highway, limited visibility by properties opposite, which are located behind tall natural screening. And this will also be enough relevant history. There was a pre-application, which I'm pretty sure that this committee did actually look at some time ago. This one. So, okay, so you can see here as best as I can to try and show the site, the existing that's there at the moment. So this is the existing with the sort of comms cabinet here and then the existing monopole. This is what they're looking to put in its stead. So it's essentially an additional 5 meters in height with the supporting antennae and modules and things that will be required to deliver 5G, along with some changes to the comms cabinets down here. That's essentially it.
Thank you. Heather, any comments from councillors on this one?
And just to add that there are no letters of objection online either from residents.
Excellent stuff.
So that location more or less one can see some bit of the pole, isn't it? It's almost.
Well,
Line to
So
see
that's
it.
fine. We have to have these poles. And if we've got to have one of these poles, that's probably as good a location as any to put it.
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's already there, yes.
Is that, I don't know, do we know? Is that instead of, or are they still looking at, you know, that application that's going for that one
Yeah,
by the bridge?
different, yeah.
Oh, that's different, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's gone away or
No, I
if it's
don't
going to
know.
be
No,
something
just wondering.
again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's different. That was for additional,
Yeah.
whereas this is an upgrade.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm presuming this will happen all the existing ones or something.
I assume so, yeah.
But yeah, as we said, if we're going to put one anywhere in there,
That's- It might as well be there, yes.
It's on the corner of farmland.
Yes.
at the end of the
It's
day.
quite away from any
so I think this is that's the boundary of the bench.
It's done wrong.
Including my Bedfordshire Hertfordshire geography. All in favour of the recommendation? That's it. Okay, 5/2022/0762, 0691, criteria. On to 5/2022/0717, that's 45 West Way.
Right, okay, so I didn't actually do any feedback for this one. This application does not differ vastly in what is proposed to be done to the property from the previous application. However, once again, there are no details of replacement trees to replace those that are to be felled. Suggest repeating wording from previous application, which is essentially all that I've done.
It was permitted last time.
Yes, but we want to stay consistent with what we said.
No, I wasn't suggesting there's a reason to change any of something. Any comments from councillors? We have to go to the recommendation. All in favour?
Okay, that's agreed.
2022/0558, criteria required for consideration, neither of those. 0739, so on to 5/2022/0754, 36 Bewley Close, I think we're counting. Other interest. Observations on this one.
Just making a note for the declaration of interest. Okay, 36 Bewley Close. So if I can just sort of draw your attention to this site here. Proposal looks to remove, positioning of properties in the area is so that the proposed rear dormer window positioned in the roof space of the garage will overlook the flank wall of property to the rear of the property, number 37 Bewley Close, is located at the same height as the existing first floor windows. Property will have 4 bedrooms. There is a single garage and 2 off-street parking spaces on the site. I couldn't actually, unfortunately, due to the configuration, I couldn't take Google Street View round to in front of it. So the best I could do really, unfortunately, was, I don't think I could actually. I was unable to. So you can see here we've got the front elevation as it is at the moment, and then from the front, all that will be visible is these 2 additional roof lights. Rear of the property, you can see that we've got the addition of this little small dormer window along with the 2 roof lights. And as I mentioned in my observations, the window height is exactly the same height as the other windows in the main property.
Thank you. Heather, any comments from councillors on this one? Sandy, we have to go to recommendation. All in favour?
That's okay.
Lovely. 5/2022/0672 78 Pop Street Way. Observations. This one.
Okay, so 78 Top Street. Proposal looks to remove the front bay window and extend further forward to just short of the existing front kitchen area projection to create open plan living space. It's also proposed to extend over the existing front projection at first floor level to enlarge bedroom 2. There are no additional bedrooms proposed. Property sits slightly further back from the building line number 80 Top Street Way, then reducing the impact on them. No tree works and not conservation area considered no objection. So you can see here that actually to the left hand side that the property over here is set much further forward and is a much more substantial size on the plot. You've got the existing to the left and then the proposed to the right. So the change essentially is here, building above the small forward projection that's just there on the front, which is then visible from this section here. It's the extra little piece that's being added on. Here is the existing and the proposed floor plans. So you can see here that we've got this little additional element that's coming forward here, just above the ground floor extension, is just here. That's it.
Do you have any comments from councillors on this one? Can't see any. Have to go to the recommendation on the favour.
Okay, that's agreed.
Okay, 5/2022/0678 at 27 Townsend Lane.
Okay, so this actually is the existing view of 27 following the extensions that were permitted under the permitted some time ago, and they developed the site. The scheme looks to build over the footprint of the side garage stroke storeroom element at first floor level to expand the existing master bedroom with an ensuite and dressing room, with the existing garage stroke storeroom areas to be converted into further storerooms and a gym. The small first floor extension is proposed over the existing ground floor element to the front to expand another bedroom. So that's actually over this bit that's just here. No additional bedrooms are to be added. A few amendments to doors and windows proposed throughout the scheme, but nothing that will cause detrimental impact on the neighbouring properties. Property is already rendered the front, but is also proposed to render the rear of the property as part of this proposal. Property is in the conservation area. I'll say consider no objection subject to appropriate design and use of materials in the conservation area. Policy 85 of the district plan affairs. So you can see here that it actually sits on some of the corner plots here, a large space. We've got the existing and the proposed floor plans here. So the changes ultimately are right. There's along this side here where they're changing the configuration of these storerooms into being a much more open plan living space. And this garage is being essentially converted into storeroom. Just a bit here. From the first floor level, you can see that we are extending out this element here to expand the bathroom to the master bedroom. And then again, they're expanding this bedroom just here, that's coming out, that's just down here. And this is how frontage will change. We're changing from the two uniform dormer windows to a single dormer window and then two first floor projections. And then the rear of the property, you can see here that they're looking to change the roof form here at the back. And that's it.
Are we content with the parking still adequate?
It is, yeah, because they're not changing the number yet.
Yeah, I was just attempting to lost the carry.
Yes.
Right, just want to check. Any comments from council? Just drop water over my papers. Are we content to go with the recommendation? All in favour? Okay, 5/2022/06 690 criteria. Go on to 5/2022 0694 at 33 South Down Road.
Okay. This application looks to demolish the existing garage and build a footprint over the footprint and to the rear across the width of the property in a wraparound style at ground and first floor level. The extensions offer an entrance lobby and office to the side, and expanded living space to the ground floor level at rear, and expanded bedroom space at first floor level. No additional bedrooms are proposed as part of the scheme. A 1 metre gap down the boundary number 34 South Down Road is being retained. Proposed extensions appear to be a good addition to the property and do not impact on the neighbouring properties. There is ample parking provision on the frontage to absorb the loss of garage. No tree works, but it is located in the conservation area. No objection, subject to the appropriate design and use of materials in the conservation area. So you can see here actually that my picture shows where they've already made a start on some building work some time ago already. And 33 and number, I think that must be 35, I believe, next door has also been modernised most recently. So we've got the existing along the top and then the proposed along the bottom. You can see that they're looking to essentially extend out over this section here that we've got that's empty at the moment. Just there. It shows here again the side elevation. And then you can see here on the floor plan that we've got this wraparound section that goes along the back and then along the side at ground floor level. And then there's no changes, sorry, and then there's changes again with the wraparound. It goes along essentially exactly the same footprint with the expansion of bedrooms and 2 en-suites being added. So we've already got 4 bedrooms, some way still retaining 4 bedrooms.
Thank you. Are there any comments and councillors on this one? I'll see any might go to the recommendation. Okay. 5/2022-0697, busy evening for Townsend Lane, 29 Townsend Lane.
Yeah.
What observations on this one?
That one. Okay, 29 Townsend Lane. The proposed garage differs from the refused scheme in that the length has been reduced by 500 millimetres, the width by 300 millimetres, and the roof design has changed to be a standard gable roof and slopes far less acutely. The overall design appears to be more sympathetic to the street scene and the host dwelling than the withdrawn application. Proposed automated sliding gate has also been removed from the scheme. There's no objection subject to the previous reasons for refusal being addressed. So here in the images you can see along the top what the withdrawn application garage is going to look like. And then lower down here you can see what the new scheme is essentially suggesting.
The picture of the house is not the house, it was all knocked about sometime ago.
Right, okay. These are the drawings that were provided.
These drawings are the right drawings of the new house.
Right, okay.
You'll see it distinctly different.
Different from that one there. Yeah.
Just on the recommendation,
Yeah.
if it was withdrawn rather than refused, we need to.
Okay, actually, so maybe yes, so in a sense, when I say refuse, is what our concerns were. So yes, no, that's
why I had that. I was going to make this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
expect the authority.
Subject to, okay, so we want to change the wording to be subject. So do we want to say
Subject to the town council's previous reasons for recommending refusal being addressed.
subject to the committee's previous reasons? Recommending refusal.
Yeah. Any
Do
other?
you want to see the remaining images? Was that sufficient? No, that's okay. No, that's fine. So you can see that it has, it has changed into kind of quite an acutely shaped
You still quite happy to have a garage in the front garden like that, it's slightly raised, as the slope goes up the way.
I think,
There's a. What, yeah, you go.
I think it's more acceptable. And I think if we raise the thing about subject to our previous reasons for refusal, when we can repeat our previous reasons for refusal, if that would be preferable.
Create precedents in these things, but there are throughout the town, there are a fair number of garages that
I
have
know
been
there are.
permitted in the front.
Are there a few actually in Townsend Lane at all? These sort of roads.
Think of any,
I haven't noticed it.
I can't think of any. I suppose what was slightly concerning me is that that the house is up there, and the road's down here, and there's other houses further down. On the north side, so
Yeah.
you are sort of looking up, and I don't even see the big wall that's been built at the end of Rosebery Avenue. It's an enormous wall. It's next to that, house next to that, it's a little bit. I think we have difficulty turning it down, but maybe leave our previous concerns.
I think making sure that the planners are aware that we have previous reasons is directing them to them is about the best we can do for this.
It looks a much more sort of kind of standard single garage style that you would expect to see, rather than having this rather sloping roof, which actually would be sloping towards the road. Actually,
It almost look like a house.
yeah, it's a much more sort of.
Unusual to see people building garages, we've seen about 3 or 4.
They have been, yes, they seem to be coming back in.
Yeah, for example, in Rosebery Avenue, there's a garage and one of the front gardens, there's nothing about it. Yeah, Richard Nichols,
We
Trust.
Is it Richard? Yes.
are we content to go with the recommendation with the changes that we
Yeah.
made? All in favour? So agenda item 7, appeals, we're just noting.
Sorry, we need to actually do number 3 possibly.
Yes, I was going to note the appeal and then I was.
Oh, fine, okay.
You preempted me. But,
Sorry?
I was just noting that there's been an appeal at number 80 Mead Way. And then I was going to come to, before we get into trees, because it felt like this was houses and then
Okay,
trees.
yeah, no, fine. That's absolutely fine.
We note that there have been amendments made to planning at 3 Cross Lane, which was considered previously. And on request of residents, we've been asked to review the previous recommendation. So I'm bringing it back to council as a sort of opportunity for us to take a second look.
Yes.
Fine. So what I have actually done is I have added, tagged on to the end of the visuals, the ones that we have presented to us before. So although there have been amendments added, the essentially the amendments only really are to address the concerns that have been raised previously or earlier on within this particular application, which relate to the positioning of the access coming into the site, and a very small change that relates to the garage being repositioned. But ultimately, the rest of the scheme does not differ. I haven't actually put these up onto here because they don't really show us a vast amount of difference. So anyway, so this is number 3 Cross Lane again. So we've got the large sites, as you can see here, and then the existing block plan, which shows that there's the house, which is just here, the main house with the detached garage here, and then this garden space all the way along here, which is proposed to be the detached garage demolished with the replacement dwelling that's just put here, and then the addition of 2 former style properties at the rear of the garden just here. So this is the location of the proposed new dwelling that's on the street scene, with the access road which is proposed to go along this between the 2 properties just here. And these are the design of the 2 new proposed properties at the rear of the site. And ultimately that is it. The wording, which was what we had used previously in relation to this, was that. So yes, so the committee, bearing in mind that we were working on the basis of the information that we had available to us at that time, which did not include the comments received from the highways, from the fire, and also a number of objections that have been logged since that meeting on the 22nd of February, which are now visible online. So our recommendation on that particular meeting day was that no objection subject to the relevant tree damage mitigating measures being implemented and the appropriate design and use of materials in the Harpenden Conservation Area. Policy 74 and 85 of the district plan affairs. Okay.
And just to note, we have councillors have received a letter of objection on this from the resident that I had asked the secretary this morning.
Yes.
I think everyone's seen.
We have, in addition to further representation, I believe that we received from another resident as well in the neighbouring property.
Does anyone have, Councillor Drake?
Yes, in relation to the comments made by the neighbour at 5 Cross Lane, Harpenden, I took up his invitation to go and have a closer look at the property, because as Heather referred to at the previous meeting, certain information has now been drawn to light by various objection letters posted since the date of that meeting. So I thought it was worth going to have a look at these. For the record, I did explain to the resident and for the meeting tonight that obviously whilst I have viewed these, I have not predetermined a position on this matter, but would want to draw people's attention, committee members' attention to various things that I noted this afternoon. The first one is that the property itself would unquestionably overlook the neighbouring properties, which I don't think we could see previously from previous information. Despite the fact that actually the hedge is the best part of 9 metres in height, this property would unquestionably exceed that height. We'll look into that, into those gardens in that area. The second point is that we believe you couldn't see the property from the street scene because of the way the openings are positioned. If you stand opposite the openings and where the building at number 3 is to be partly demolished to make way for the drive, there's no question you would be able to see these buildings which are out of character with the rest of the street, though obviously you would have to be looking directly in that direction. You wouldn't see it just walking down the road. And the other point would be the biodiversity point here, in that at the back, which of my attention, there is a pond at the back which would appear to be in the site of where this would be built over. I understand that there are wildlife considerations there. I am not an expert on wildlife, but there's obviously been no consideration made in any papers I can see filed in relation to the wildlife there. And finally, the screening of the property at the back, the property is in Beach Close, I think it is. I'm not sure what the road is behind. Are probably insufficient and would in fact actually impinge on the light on those new properties and would probably therefore come under further consideration at a later date for being removed, reducing loss, creating loss of amenity to those houses in Beach Close. So there are a number of the objections that have been raised by the residents, which seem to me to have certainly some questions and some validity to it, which we weren't aware of at the previous meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Drake. Any other councillors want to raise a comment? That's it.
Yeah, can I just ask a few questions, pressure forward, which might sort of then examine my comments on it. So you said the height or the hedge, was that number 5, the one on?
If you look at number 5, I think is the one at the top of that street.
Yeah, so to the right of
Yeah,
the garage.
so you can see the garden going backwards along that red line. That height of that hedge there is in fact about 9 metres, but the property itself is nearly double that height.
So that's the 2, that's 3 B and C. Is that 3?
That's B and C.
So the 2 at the back, yeah.
A would be the new property created roughly where the
Roughly where the
garage
garage
is at the moment, which is in a different style.
We think the height of the B and C is. We have the height of the.
Just trying to find. Don't you have a height? Right. Yeah.
Don't think you do because you can't print the drawings off to the scale size.
It's a normal, but then you're going to have at least 8 metres per floor. 8 feet.
8 feet.
8 feet per floor. Yeah. The current hedge is about 9 foot high. So they certainly be up as flooring, and there's a window on that side looking directly.
Yeah, that's fine if we bring it over. It's some of the other means.
Give me 2 seconds, I'll check if I can find the height.
The difficulty is that we can't print the drawings off to scale, you see, unless they're provided in an AP format, so I can't scale them. unfortunately.
The other issue, just the height, of course, is that the garden of the back is not currently even. Because of different visual dips into where the current pond area is. Now, I don't know, but I assume that would be filled in order to produce a level. So I doubt that they would dig down to reduce the height. Worried about flooding.
Sorry, is the pond a natural pond or is it a?
Well, I can't, because it's in the next door, I really couldn't tell whether it's an actual pond or not. It may not be, but there is a possibility that there are bird life, for example, around there. Now I can't again verify that, but I can see that they could be, given this proximity to the common in particular. But again, there's been no biodiversity report or equivalent produced on the effects here.
And say, given its proximity to the common, whether there's been any back survey.
That would come into, again, I couldn't see one of those when I looked through the papers this afternoon. I couldn't see anything. And I would also question whether that we did mention this in the last meeting, which is whether there would be tree root damage, which was mentioned in our comments last time. But there must be some concern about that, including the new drive, which will go through some of those existing trees.
Presumably taken out. Yeah, the damage you
Well,
found.
it appears that one would probably be taken out, but what damage might be done elsewhere, I do not know.
Any other comments from council?
There was no other backland development being done along there, is there? The back and central.
Not like. Cool.
Don't think so.
Not a lot. I don't think there is a long lane. I mean, technically, Brickmead Close, that's a new road, isn't it?
You shoot, so.
So which road?
Brickmead Close.
That's much newer.
That's much newer.
Much newer. I wouldn't know when. It's much newer. I mean, it's not part of planning consideration, but I suppose there must be a risk that if buildings are placed in those positions, that other properties along that road may have looked to develop in the same way. But I don't think that's part of our consideration.
I'm not sure we can predict pre.
No, you can only consider what is in front of you.
And also, frankly, I'm not convinced that this would necessarily act as a precedent even if it was given. But anyway, that's a separate point, as we say, not Not a planning board, so. What do we think of 3A at the front? Taking that as a first point and then,
It certainly looks higher than the other. If you look at the street scene, it seemed to be higher. Distinctly higher. Is it not?
yeah, it's the one where the X is, it
Yeah.
does look, I mean,
Distinctly
again, I
higher.
can't tell the scale, but it does look higher.
It is, yeah, I mean, it is from there.
And you'll notice it is also built much closer to the fence line with number 5 than it is to the actual original host property number 3. Though that's been partly created to create the drive-through, obviously the B and C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a garage in the front garden.
And
I
also
mean, they could have moved it back closer to the number 3 Prospect House and had the driveway going the other side.
We would think that would, no reason why that couldn't occur.
No, I'm just, because it's obviously they put the house nearer to their neighbours rather than to have to.
They may have been a consideration.
whether or not we can
Assume
as a
Yeah.
planning committee.
No, I know, it's just the whole picture.
Yes, so,
In my view on, so this is 3A, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm concerned how close it is to, so that's number 5, isn't it?
It is.
So number 5 is the one on the right screen. Yeah, I'm concerned it's the position near it to number 5. I'm not too concerned, if I'm honest, about the size of it and the height of it, because although it is slightly higher, there's some big houses.
There's big houses.
They're
up
big
there.
houses.
Yes, I do
But
think it's
I
nice.
believe that the one in the side of number 5, the ridge height is also a bit higher than
Yes.
number 5.
yes,
Is it?
Yes.
I'm just going to actually go and get the agenda from the 22nd of February because I'm fairly sure from my memory they've had previous permissions for that house.
Yes,
to be-
I can confirm that because again, as part of the, reread those papers, but
Yes.
it dated back to 2005.
It was back a long way,
So
wasn't it?
it well predates, for example, the Hayden Carpenter neighbourhood plan.
and if there hasn't been a shovel in the ground, that's not a bad.
No, it's not no longer valid.
But it's still in the time frame of the name of the district plan.
Yes.
Yes, yes, I agree. The only point, like, it's obviously however, for us,
Yes.
consideration of how they plan.
In size terms, it's not, I think, how to keep it with other houses.
No, I can think so.
I think it's big and it's close, but the question is whether it's too big and too close. I would lean to, personally, I'd lean to, I think that's probably okay, the front one. But
Yeah, the roof is awfully dominant. Irrespective of its height, it's a big chunk of roof that.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I think the point is if there wasn't a lane in going through to the back of the property, the 3A would be sitting equally distanced between the other two houses. I think it's.
Yeah.
That's the
And
point.
if it was, yes,
Yes.
and I think it's because, and I think that positioning, therefore, if you like, exacerbates the effect of the roof, which I don't think it would be if it was more central.
Can you go back to the area? Well, I suspect the reason they put it there is because that's where the garage is, more than anything else. Where that circle is.
That's possible. The other possibility is that they, because that's the line of least resistance to put the drive through without taking out trees.
I grant you, I suspect the reason it's convenient, it's there, but I would imagine the logic is, I can't speak.
One of the other objectives that they have tried to address is the ones from highways, which have referred to and the fire service. I suspect curving it round might cause more of an issue than driving straight through, but I wouldn't know about it.
And those, so the majority, or at least the majority of those trees in front of the garage are being maintained. So we think.
Well, my understanding, looking at it, it looks like one's coming out.
One's coming out.
Only one.
But from a view of screening as opposed to.
Yes,
two sort of
that's why you
from
get a clear
view-
view through, because screening produced, the other thing is whether of the roots of those other trees that are left in would be a risk, which is a point we did raise at the previous meetings.
So I think, not sure we have a consensus on 3A, but I think we know what the issues are with 3A. On 3B and 3C, sort of collective, I think, I've said previously, and I'm on the record, I don't think they look particularly attractive. And I think if they can be seen from the road, which it does now appear that they can be, then I think we do need to comment on the fact that those buildings are out of character with the street scene. And I think the point that you've raised about amenity in particular is an important one, because I think if it's overlooking to that extent and it's going to be over the height of the hedge, then I think it would be remiss of this committee not to at least draw the district council's attention to that. Were there any other particular objections to those ones that you wanted to raise, or is that the main thrust of what we'd like to talk about?
I think with the amenity point we were referring to earlier, so number 5, to me, that would be a point of, I don't know what the other committee is that be a concern more than the usual just basis on that point alone, because there is still doubt as to whether there is overlooking.
We'll get to concern versus refusal once we've decided on what we're unhappy with.
I don't think there's any doubt as to overlooking in terms of number 5, because questions about whether the way the screening at the back is currently positioned, whether there will be overlooking to beach close, which then if he happened to that screening, then because that what gets him there is that the house at the back there, because is much closer than I thought it was going to be.
You can just about see an element of property just here, can't you?
Oh, drink.
Okay.
He asked once
again. But I'll say, I mean, I'm on record of saying the first time round that irrespective of whether we weren't sure about amenity, I think I said at the time, I quite like the design. So from a point of consistency, on the pure design point, I don't have a problem with it. And that might be controversial, but I think it's probably fair. But I can understand if and why the committee might disagree with me, but I just think it's fair that I think that.
I mean, I think the point that they made, if I remember correctly, was that the design of the houses in the back were similar to designs of other houses around the corner. And that might be true, but those houses that are around the corner are not on Cross Lane.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I agree. I don't think that they're in keeping with the other houses along Cross Lane. Cattle Barn, Bit Harsh.
Houses.
But they're not in keeping with the houses.
I think the problem is the practice, isn't it?
Yeah, but it looks like a picture. That's not a picture.
There seems to be a sort of fashion at the moment for buildings like that, which basically to me look like industrial units.
Yeah.
With the front door.
Pictureless, not for passions that I use anyway.
I mean, I suppose the other thing is this point of the flatness, so as not to create the height of the roof so that it doesn't impact on number 5. But actually what you're saying is that it does impact on number 5 and it's got a flat roof.
I don't think it was the impact of the 5. Again, I'm not an architect, but from what I can see, from what I can put to my mind's eye, I could see that could be a problem. Again, this is where we're working from this is where you almost need an artist's impression to really be able to see it. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That there's enough concerns about B and C that we might wish to consider refusal for B and C on the grounds of those various concerns, but maybe express concerns about A.
Yes, I think that might be a route forward. I think we'll try and put it all together. So with A, there are concerns about the siting and the roof form being overly dominant, and the effect that might have on street scene, neighbouring properties.
Street scene and potential where it's cited loss of amenity to.
Yeah. For B and C, refusal on the basis that the design is not totally out of keeping, but definitely not in keeping with the street scene and on the potential loss of amenity caused by overlooking, or we don't need to specify what that's happening, but you know what I mean. Potential loss of amenity to neighbouring properties, number 5, and whatever, what number is it, beach close, do we know?
We can probably just say neighbouring properties, and it's a bit of a catch-all, because I know there are properties further around.
That's a definite point, because it isn't just that one. The fence line was against that road, so probably right not to specify.
Do we want to reiterate also, particularly given its proximity, common lack of ecological
Yes, yes, that's
information?
Yes.
The fact that there's no ecological surveys have been carried out.
yeah. I think that's what we have to say. Primarily for B and C, or are we concerned about the whole site?
I think it needs to cover the whole
I think it
site.
needs to cover the whole site, basically, doesn't it? Yes.
Okay. Right. So. Oh.
So we've got a little bit really of a mixture of
Yeah.
the two, haven't we, with a recommend refusal and an express concern. But ultimately, we need to start with a
Recommendation.
yeah, the recommendation. So on the fact that we're going strong with the recommend refusal, I think we have to retain
Yeah.
the recommend refusal as
Yes.
our open gambit.
Yes. I think.
And then move on to the expressing of concern in relation to
Okay.
Cleo.
Do we need to, I don't know, because we're revisiting it, obviously we can, because it's within the time frame. Do we need to put some words in?
I was going.
You were going to say,
You keep reiterating.
sorry.
Yes, I think something along the lines of with the opportunity to reconsider based on new information. If we see
Would like, yeah,
new recommendation, something to that effect. And then, yeah, so recommend refusal. Committee has concerns about 3A of
yeah.
recommends refusal based on.
The rest of it, but yeah.
Okay, I think we've pulled everything together. Has anyone got anything we've missed before I put this to a vote? It doesn't pass the vote, if I'm right, sir. All in favour of that recommendation? You abstaining, Harry? Just for completeness. Okay, perfect. So that part.
That covers that one. Yeah. The 3.
Right.
So
Item 8, preservation order tree works for noting, conservation area tree works and technical applications for noting, list of weekly ordinance district council decisions just for noting. The date of the next meeting of this committee will be on Tuesday, 26th of April, 7:30 p.m. in the council chamber. Plans and orders next being held on Monday, the 11th of April, 10 p.m. presumably some orders. With that, I bring this meeting to a close at 9:45. I make it. Well, do I have to start by 10?